Hey guys, this is MJ here with Z, and welcome to some NFL playoff predictions for the 2013-2014 season. And I am joined here with.
What's up, Chris here, Vintage Style. I'm TheVintageChris. Let's do this.
All right, so pretty much we're just gonna be predicting how the playoffs are gonna go for our opinions, pretty much who's gonna be in the Super Bowl and who's gonna win. So, do you want to start with AFC or NFC?
Let's start with the AFC because, in my opinion, the wild card round, the AFC is less interesting.
Yeah. So I think the first game we'll talk about is the least interesting out of people's opinions, more than likely. The third seed Cincinnati Bengals going against the sixth seed San Diego Chargers. You can start us off.
All right, this game, to me, has a little bit of an overtime feel to it. The Chargers, they got definitely got lucky at the end in the way they got into the playoffs, but I also think that they're not a bad team. They've played some really good teams, to the end. But I think they'll come up short. The Bengals, they're pretty good this year. They've been inconsistent at times, especially Andy Dalton, who's been horrendous, throwing picks left and right. But I think on the back of their defense, the Bengals will win this game and advance.
All right, so you're predicting Bengals beat the Chargers.
Yes,
All right. So,
that's
uh,
I just said that
well,
like
yeah, I'm just making sure. So, my opinion on things, I was thinking that the Chargers might actually be a dangerous team. Philip Rivers is having a
River.
extraordinary season. He has been playing like the old Rivers, how he used to play, in my opinion. Because now that getting a better offensive line obviously helps a quarterback, and Rivers, the talent that he has, and finding a new favorite target in Keenan Allen, while no Denario Alexander and no Malcolm
Or Malcolm
Floyd.
Floyd, yeah.
Keenan Allen
Imagine if
steps
they
up big
imagine if
time.
they had both those guys. Damn, they could
Th-
be a lot
it
more
could be it would
force
pretty
to reckon with.
yeah, that would have to be a team where you're looking at it and you're like, well, we're gonna have to win a shootout with them, and that's still the case, but just not as much if they had those two. But I was, my opinion, I had the Chargers if they were gonna make the playoffs. They were gonna be a dangerous team for me, as long as they could not make themselves an embarrassment. The final game against the Kansas City Chiefs, which they did. Kansas City started most, pretty much all of their good starters, all of them benched, including quarterback. So you're going
Right.
against a
And the
backup
big defensive
quarterback.
players too that weren't in the game.
Yeah, Derek Johnson and Holly.
Dontari Poe.
Yeah, Poe. So those are three big guys out of that Kansas City defense, and they barely won. They win in overtime, and there wasn't there isn't there like a questionable call right now when
Apparently there like should have been a flag thrown that would have made the field goal like closer.
yeah, it would be 36
Because Kansas
feet.
City missed a field goal that could have won the game
Yeah, it was a
in
41
the
field goal.
regulation.
It was a 41-yard field goal. Ryan Suckup missed it.
Yeah, which
Apparently,
sucks.
apparently it should have been a 36-yard field goal, which is much easier. Even though 41 is still easy for
Should
these
have
type
made
of
the field goal
kickers.
left.
Yeah,
So let's not say the Chargers got in the playoffs by like a shit call. Like let's be honest. Ryan Suckup should have made that field goal.
oh yeah.
Like I hate when people say, "Oh,
Well, what I'm saying is, it's embarrassing that's like
yeah." I mean,
they
yeah, that
barely got into it. So I don't see them as dangerous as I used to think, just because it looked like they just played to their level, and you can't have it like that.
uh
So Cincinnati, they've made both the playoffs twice with Andy Dalton, lost both to the Houston Texans. And Dalton, this is his time to prove that he can win a playoff game and get it out of the way pretty early in his career. And I think the Cincinnati Bengals will overcome it despite losing or not having Leon Hall, Geno Atkins, two big time defensive players for them. I think Dalton will be able to overcome that and score enough points on the offense to beat the Chargers.
all right. So we can go to the next game.
Yeah.
All right. So in the next game, the Chiefs, who won the first wild card, will go to Indianapolis to play the Colts. In my opinion, I just see the Chiefs as like they're a good team. They got a good defense, a quarterback who plays his role, doesn't really turn the ball over that much, uh, an MVP caliber running back, and like I said, a great defense. But their problem has been all year long is that they can't beat the good the good big time teams. And the Colts already played the Chiefs this year in Kansas City and whooped them. And I don't see really anything changing here. I see the Colts being able to win their first home playoff games with Andrew Luck. Um, and I think they'll advance. Andrew Luck, who's been definitely has not had as successful a year as he did last year. A lot of people are blaming that on the fact that he lost Reggie Wayne, which is huge. But I just don't see the Chiefs winning this game, and I think the Colts will pull it out and advance. And according to my predictions, we'll go to Denver.
Oh snap! Um, this is really hard for me because I feel like these teams are. I'm not gonna say they're so alike, but talent-wise, when you just level everything out, I feel like they're really close to each other because you have Alex Smith, who is a reliable quarterback, which is what everybody wants. If you don't have an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, etc., etc., always want a reliable quarterback, and that's what Alex Smith is. As you said, doesn't turn the ball over too much. Have a great defense, but they haven't stepped it up against the big time guys, like you said, and the Colts haven't really. They're I don't know. I'm really not. I don't. I guess I'm a Colts hater, sort of, in a way, because they don't really seem like the type of team that everybody thinks they are. I think they need another year, but sorry. After all of this, I think Andrew Luck will be able to overcome the loss of Reggie Wayne. T.Y. Hilton will hopefully step up, and the only problem is they don't really have any other receivers, really, besides T.Y. Hilton. Others are just unknown. While Alex Smith has a better receiving core when you include Jamal Charles pretty much as a wide receiver, how he's been looking like that recently with that one incredible game that he had for like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Um, then Dwayne Bowe, who's been very quiet this year, has not played to how he should have been playing at least this year. And Adonai Avery, who uh, used to be on the Colts last year, who I really liked, and I feel like the Colts should have kept. But of course, he's in Kansas City. Hasn't really done too much, but he's kind of like a quiet wide receiver that I like. So I think overall, though, the Colts will barely win this in a close matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, you can do the NFC because that's your side.
All right,
Yeah.
so we'll start off with a lesser interesting game. The 3 seed Philadelphia Eagles going against the 6 seeds New Orleans Saints. Now, Drew Brees and I actually should start with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chip Kelly, rookie head coach, comes right in, changes a 4-12 team last year to a 10-6 team this year. I
Mhm.
mean, six game difference. That's really good for your first year. And this offense has been really good with Nick Foles, not Michael Vick. Nick Foles. Nick Foles has been playing amazing. I feel like he's been getting the job done, doing everything that he can. And you have LaShawn McCoy, who's looking maybe gonna kind of fight for Rivers for that maybe comeback player of the year award because McCoy really wasn't getting much of the attempts that he used to be getting with Andy Reid as the head coach. But now Chip Kelly, he's been getting a ton of rushing yards, and even catching the ball a few times on plays, and sort of being kind of like a Jamal Charles, being like a receiver and a running back, and getting the job done. So I feel like this Eagles offense is very explosive. But the only thing is that scares me about this game is that they haven't been that great recently at home. They had that 8-game losing streak at home. I think it was something like that until they won against the
Was it really eight?
Packers. It was a lot of games. It was a lot of
Dang.
games. Yeah, so it was kind of like a curse or whatever. Of course, they were 4-4 this year at home. I checked, so it's kind of changed to what it used to be. But still, that always gets into the players' heads. I feel like, and that's just something that you don't want happening. And then you're of course, going against a New Orleans Saints team who Sean Payton comes back, this defense turns it around from last year, not being, of course, a top tier defense, but getting the job done sort of defense, I feel like. But the Saints have had problems too, and their problems have been on the road. And also, their receivers not really doing what they should be doing. Marquise Colston, very bad this year. Not very bad this year, but mediocre, I would
He
say.
started to like heat up a bit towards the end.
Yeah, and then Jimmy Graham recently has been sort of inconsistent, probably battling injuries that he's been dealing with since I don't remember which game. I feel like it was between like week 4 to week something like that. Something
I
those
know he got banged up
things.
in the Patriots game.
That might have been the game that this started happening. But other than that, it's pretty much just gonna. I feel like this game's gonna be a shootout between Nick Foles and Drew Brees, and I just like the receiving core better for Nick Foles. So I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles will end up beating the New Orleans Saints. And yeah,
All right. So, for me, I actually agree with Michael. I think even though the Saints as a 6th seed, they're still the New Orleans Saints and they still
hmm
feel like a highly elevated team. But I agree. I think the Eagles will win this game. I think it will be a shootout. Nick Foles, who's been very impressive this year, he set I think the NFL record for touchdown to interception ratio. Only had
wasn't
two
it like?
picks, two
Oh,
picks
and never
all. It was like
mind.
24-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but still impressive nonetheless. And I don't see how the Saints will be able to contain the Eagles' offense. Like the Saints' defense, yeah, we have to say has definitely improved from last year, but it's not
Yeah.
like it's great.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I don't see how they'll be able to contain the Eagles' offense with LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson and the receivers that they have there. I think it'll be a shootout, like you said. I think it'll be a great game, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I have the Eagles moving on.
All right, and that moves
By the
us
way, by the way, another thing I want to say, I feel like the Eagles this year may be that team that's kind of hot down the end. So,
kind of like how
um,
the Giants a couple
yeah,
years and the Ravens, because
uh,
usually the hot teams usually get that job.
so look out for them.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are looking at the Eagles and the Chargers being that team, so we'll see what happens there. I doubt anybody wants to see a Chargers Eagles Super Bowl though.
Hey, man,
All right, so then it comes up to the last wild card game that we have. The 5th seed San Francisco Giants will be going to Green Bay
San
Lambeau
Francisco
Field.
Giants.
Oh,
Okay.
San Francisco 49ers will be going to Lambeau Field to go against the 4th seed Green Bay Packers, who Rodgers saved the day once again.
He's a bad man, as Stephen
As
A. Smith would say.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and I was kind of I didn't want Rodgers to come back for the last game,
Yeah.
but he did. I wanted him to come back to Steelers game because I feel like that was the best time. But it came back to Bears game. He shook off the rust a little bit, and then he got the job done and won the game and showed why he's one of the best. Now, San Francisco has had the Packers recently. They've won the last 3 games, including playoffs. The Colin Kaepernick torched us, and the first game of the season for the Packers and 49ers, where he torched us even worse. And recently, Kaepernick hasn't really done that. So either Kaepernick is just loves going against the Green Bay Packers, or it's just a coincidence. Now, this Green Bay Packers defense will be without Clay Matthews, who is having thumb surgery, so that's a huge loss on the Green Bay Packers defense. But Randall Cobb coming back, Jordy Nelson being a much better receiver than he was last year. I feel like Rodgers and this offense can honestly beat this 49ers team at Lambeau Field. I wasn't I haven't been too confident about this matchup, but the fact that it's at Lambeau Field and the fact that I just feel like the Packers need to show that they can beat the 49ers in all these close games. I feel like they can get the job done. They can hold Colin Kaepernick to not being as explosive as he's been against us. And Kaepernick really didn't improve on his receiving core. He still has Michael Crabtree, who's getting used to things as he's coming back from his injury still recovering. Vernon Davis, who really has been either amazing or awful, like Hail Mary catches, that sort of thing. And Frank Gore has been the usual Frank Gore. So,
Consistent, reliable
yeah.
running back.
So, and then the defense has had a couple problems as they, what you call it? Was it Alden Smith? Something happened
Oh
with
yeah, he
him,
was like suspended or whatever.
suspended
Then
for
he,
some games.
then he like came back, but I think he's still gonna get like suspended from the league at some point.
Yeah, so, I mean, whenever that's happening in the locker room, especially with that defense, I mean, it's something's got to happen. I feel like they're not going to be as good as they should be. I feel like. So, long story short, I feel like the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers will be able to finally overcome Kaepernick and his running explosiveness. And for the first time, I'm actually saying this, I have the Green Bay Packers finally beating the San Francisco 49ers and moving on to the divisional round.
Oh, I hate to be a bore, but Michael and I are gonna agree on every wild card matchup so far.
Wait, what? Really?
I'm picking the Packers. I
Oh,
I
wow.
I think with Rodgers coming back and getting that game in, and he looked great down the end. I think that's huge. They're at home. I just don't see them making the same defensive mistakes against Kaepernick like they did last year. I think they're going to be able to adjust, but and like you mentioned, Kaepernick hasn't been like the same Kaepernick. Like obviously, I mean for obvious reasons, defenses have adjusted, but
Hmm.
um, I see Green Bay winning this game. I don't know, like I feel like the 49ers are like a team that people are kind of glossing over, but yet again, I'm picking against them. But I think this will be a close game. I think it'll be actually more defensive than offensive. And I think the Packers will win late in the fourth quarter, field goal or something. Crosby,
Oh, gosh.
Michael will be shitting his pants. But yeah, I have the Packers moving on.
All right.
So we have all the same matchups for the next round.
Wow. Okay. So that's gonna be
It'll
um
be Bengals, Patriots, Colts, Broncos,
then
Eagles,
Eagles.
Panthers, and
Yeah.
then Packers,
Yeah.
Seahawks.
All right. So should we start with the AFC again?
Sure.
All right. So I'll let you kick things off with the Patriots and the Bengals.
All right. So, as most of you know, I am a huge Patriots fan. And before I talk about this game, I just want to say something. This season for the Patriots for me has definitely been different to adjust to because we start off the year Gronkowski was out, Hernandez was arrested, indicted, and thrown into jail. Wes Welker went to Denver, which is great. And and just another thing to throw in, Danny Woodhead signed as a free agent to go to San Diego. Um, so coming into this year, I was a little worried, but obviously having Tom Brady, you always have a chance. But our offense definitely looked like crap starting the year off with rookie receivers like Kimbrel Tompkins and Aaron Dobson dropping balls left and right. Um, But we overcame that. Our defense started off really well until we got major injuries to Vince Wilfork, Gerard Mayo, Tommy Kelly. Um, but still, the Patriots have been able to overcome much adversity this whole year and finished with a 12-4 record. Tom Brady making guys like Julian Edelman look like MVPs. Like he's only the third Patriots receiver in history to have 1,000 receptions in. Whoa, excuse me, 100 receptions and 1,000 yards, um, which is incredible. And despite the stats of Brady, I think this may be his best season, just because what he's been able to do with so little. And our defense, without our key players, has now started to look like our old defense, the bend but don't break, like gives up a lot of yards but not a lot of points. And the good thing is that we usually get a lot of turnovers, which is good. But anyway, in this game, the Bengals this year beat the Patriots and made the Patriots look really bad, one of the worst losses I've ever
But
seen.
the weather was really bad, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was rainy, it was in Cincinnati. The Bengals defense held Tom Brady to only 6 points, which was incredible.
That was the
Our
one game where he did not get a touchdown that ruined his streak,
y-
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. But I don't see the same thing happening again. This time it's in Foxborough. The Patriots are a different team than they were then, with guys like Shane Vereen coming and being, I think, will be an X factor in the playoffs. He's been incredible. Um, and we have a great running back rotation with Garrett Blunt, who's shown himself as a reliable back. But um, but it'll be a good game. I think it'll be Uh, I like to say be more offensive. Because like you said, the Bengals have lost some of their big name defensive players as well. Um, Akib Talib on AJ Green will be a great matchup to look for. Um, I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Patriots. I don't think they're going to lose their first home game, and will defeat the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right. Uh, the New England Patriots have had the ugliest 12-4 record I have ever seen. They have, like, Tom Brady and the Patriots have not shown up to any of their games. It seems like for
What?
no for the first like 30 or so minutes. It's like it takes like one half for them to wake
Yeah,
up.
that was like 4 games in a row, and then they stopped doing it.
Like the Patriots, to me, have just I don't know how they've done it. They've gotten so lucky with an onside to win against the Browns. I guess a holding call against the Saints game. Then they get screwed over in the Panthers game, where they would have gotten one more chance. Not guaranteed though. But all in all, this has
And the
showed.
Jets game.
Yeah, well, technically they got the right call.
Yeah, but
Technically,
like, come on, dude. So dumb.
technically, but all in all, Tom Brady has proven that why he is better than Peyton Manning overall, history wise, because
That Broncos game,
he
though.
has nobody. Tom Brady had nobody, and still did this. That is amazing. Peyton Manning, I would like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady to switch, and I would guarantee you that Tom Brady would have better record and
Like 70 touchdown passes.
not that much, but and Peyton Manning would have an okay season. So, but anyways, not talking about records, talking about the Bengals and Patriots. I feel like this is a game that the Patriots will easily breeze by and win. I feel like this is going to be one of the games that you
Oh, yeah!
this could be one of the games that AJ Green just gets shut down completely. I feel like, whether if it's Akib Talib or maybe a second cornerback going after him and covering him, because
Alfonso Dennard.
because AJ Green will sometimes just disappear for the seasons, and that's why I'm not a big fan of AJ Green. And I feel like this is gonna be one of those games where the
It's
Bengals,
because he's like he's a great pass catcher and everything, but he's not that big, and he can get strapped up by people.
yeah, because like yeah, pretty much what you said. But Cincinnati is one of those teams where just they can get shut down so easily. I feel like with Andy Dalton and AJ Green and all that, and they don't even have a. They have Giovanni Bernard and Jarvis Green Ellis who switch on the running back. They still don't even have a clear starter, as both of them share carries, which can sort of be a problem sometimes. But I really feel like this is going to be an easy game for the Patriots. The first one that they've had for a while. But you never know. This might be another. You
What do you
know,
mean? We just killed the Ravens, yo.
I'm ignoring that game.
That game was funny. I enjoyed every second of it because I hate the Ravens with burning passion.
I could tell. So all in all, I think this should be an easy game for the New England Patriots because Cincinnati doesn't really look like they have this sort of hot spark, while New England has been trying to
Dahlia,
do something this whole time. So I have New England winning this game.
another thing that I think to mention is that Andy Dalton, he's kind of been struggling. He's like,
He's
I want to know how
inconsistent.
I want to know how many picks he's thrown the past 3 games.
All right, and then we're gonna start off with the next game, which is gonna be the Denver Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts. Peyton and Andrew Luck going against each other yet again. I'll let you start this off.
All right, so this game's pretty interesting because the Colts were the team that handed the Broncos their first loss this year, with Peyton going back to Indianapolis for the first time. Uh, I don't think the Broncos should have any trouble in this game. Um, I think if they contain Robert Mathis, who's been a crazy pass rusher for them this year,
Oh yeah.
I think they'll do fine offensively. Um, I don't see Andrew Luck being able to do much. Von Miller's obviously out. I think it'll be close at first, and I think the Broncos will run away at the end. Their offense is just too much for the Colts, I think, and I don't see them losing in the division round at home. Their season's just been too great for them to have such a disappointing loss. So yeah, they won't lose here, I think, and which will, according to me, lead up to what most people probably want to see, a Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning AFC Championship game in Denver, which will be awesome. But yeah, I don't think the Broncos should have any trouble here. The Colts aren't. I don't think they're ready, like you mentioned. So yeah.
I think there's going to be another easy game in the AFC. I think the Broncos will blow by the Indianapolis Colts. Despite the Colts beating the Denver Broncos, remember, it was at Indianapolis. There was Reggie Wayne, and that's not the case here. That's a huge blow to Andrew Luck and the Colts. So I feel like Peyton Manning's just going to do what he's been doing all year long and just touchdown, 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 just score a ton of points and get this game quickly over with. And then people will probably do some questioning on Andrew Luck at how little he could have done and that sort of thing. I could just see that happening. But this should be a very easy game, not much to talk about, in my opinion, as Peyton will
I think
easily
what
win this.
people will question is why did the Colts have to draft Andrew Luck? I don't know.
Yeah, well, remember, compare the receiving cores, and then that's my whole argument with that. Compare the receiving cores, then come back. So that's my thing. So then that leads up to the NFC divisional rounds, which we both have the Green Bay Packers going against the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Carolina Panthers.
I think we can
Now,
both agree that the NFC playoffs look a lot more exciting,
oh yeah,
at least up to this point.
yeah. I'm gonna talk about the one that in my opinion is the lesser interesting game, which is the Philadelphia Eagles versus Carolina Panthers. Carolina has done something that's very one of a kind. I feel like didn't they start off 1-3?
Yeah, they won 3 and then
And
they finished 11-1, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so the overall 12-4. They were so close to firing Ron Rivera, more than likely, and then this defense just turns into a crazy, crazy
It's
monster. It
like
feels
a
like
tackling machine. It's crazy what guys like Luke Kuechly, Greg Hardy have been able to do. They're great. They're scary.
they are. And then Cam Newton has followed it up with scoring enough points on the offensive end to get them wins. Now, comparing these two teams, of course, we have Philadelphia Eagles, who, of course, don't really have that great of a defense, going against Cam Newton, who and his offensive team, who doesn't really have a great offense. In my opinion, I feel like the Eagles will upset the Carolina Panthers and win to go to the NFC Championship with Nick Foles doing what Nick Foles has been doing and just shooting them out. Because I've noticed Carolina's corners, I think, or I know they have like listed DBs, but I forgot what like the D stands for. Down
Defensive back.
defensive backs, okay, like back all the way back there, like what Seattle Seahawks have. I don't see them as scary as, of course, their front line is. And I feel like Nick Foles will be able to abuse that and be able to throw his way to victory. My problem with Cam Newton and the Panthers is that they don't have the receivers that Cam needs.
Thank you.
It's still like that, and as good as their defense is, I'm sorry, you need to score some type of points in football, and I just don't think, in the end, I don't think Cam Newton and the Panthers are going to score enough points, and I feel like the Eagles will overcome and win this game.
All right, our first disagreement. Let's go.
Woo!
All right, so obviously, as I'm going to argue with Michael on this one, I think the Panthers are going to beat the Eagles. I think their front line is too good. I think they will get to Nick Foles, pressure him enough where he's off on a lot of his throws and stuff. Um, Living in the Carolinas, I may be wondering why I'm a Patriots fan. I used to live in Massachusetts, but anyway, besides that, I live in South Carolina, so I hear a lot of stuff about the Panthers, and I know a lot of people who are pretty big Panthers fans. Um, I must say Cam Newton's probably my favorite player who not on the Patriots. Cam, but
What about
anyway,
Rivers?
uh, he's not on my team this year, so no. But I like this team a lot. I saw them beat the Patriots. Their defense is crazy good. Got to give credit to all their coaching staff and what they've been able to do. What Michael did mention is they have struggled on offense a bit this year. but I don't see the Eagles, secondary and front line being all that threatening. I think Cam I think Cam can run his way through this defense
That's the
a
only
lot.
thing I could think of how he would win this.
Another thing to look at is if is Steve Smith going to be healthy? And but Cam's been able to make do for his lack of receivers. He's thrown to Ted Ginn a bit, who's really explosive. But I think it'll be a good game. I think Cam, who's definitely matured this year.
Hmm.
He's had a lot of clutch comebacks. I think he should win this game in Carolina, at home, on the back of his defense, and making the plays he needs to make and not turning the ball over, which has been some of the trouble he's had. But I think he'll manage the game well. I think the Panthers should beat the Eagles. No upset here.
All right, like you said, first disagreement. Now moving over to the Green Bay Packers, heading over to CenturyLink Field to go against the Seattle Seahawks. At
The
least
Hail Mary.
now, this is a matchup that I really hope would happen in the playoffs, which it would if we win, unless of course the Saints would overcome the Eagles.
Michael wants his vengeance.
I do, and remember that Hail Mary. If, we all know that it was an interception. At least I hope everybody realizes that. So technically, there's two teams that have beaten the Seattle Seahawks in the past 2 years: Packers and the Cardinals. They've done it once. I don't see why
At
the
home. I think you forgot to say
at
that.
home. Sorry, yeah, at home. So if they've done it once, I don't see why they can't do it again. But of course, the fans, more than likely, more fans have come, more louder fans, I would say. But there's no Percy Harvin, which was what Seattle pretty much traded for to get them to be this scary team.
It was a bust of a trade.
And then there's no Brandon Browner, which is a big loss for them. So, like the Seattle Seahawks and the Panthers, I compare, except I switch um the DBs. I forgot it again.
What?
The like what Richard the cornerbacks, the free safety.
Corners.
Yeah, the corners. You just switch them in the front line, and that's how scary it is. Like Seattle has the best corners, free safeties, safeties, while Carolina has the best front line. So the front line isn't that scary in my opinion for Seattle. It's good, but not that scary. So I think Eddie Lacy will prove to be really good this game, and pretty much I'm still having trouble with who I'm gonna go with here.
I know it's tricky.
But if I'm gonna go with what I said about the Panthers, how their offense is just not that good. They don't have the receivers. I'd have to say the same about Russell Wilson. He doesn't have the receivers either. And
Hmm.
Cam Newton is taller than Russell Wilson, which is easier for him. And Russell Wilson, of course, being shorter and just not having the receivers like Cam Newton has. They're mediocre receivers, but still, Cam has better receivers. So it's hard for me to think that the Seahawks will this game will be a blowout or in any way. I feel like at most, or of course it's going to be close, but I just don't know how the Seahawks are going to score their points. Are they going to score them with pick sixes, fumble recoveries, field goals,
Wait,
like
why are you
get
talking
set
about
up?
the Panthers? So you're talking about the Packers.
I'm just talking about the Seahawks.
Okay,
I was
I'm
comparing
confused.
this receivers with the Panthers and the Seahawks. So I was saying how these teams are sort of similar, except one has good cornerbacks and such, and one has a good front line. So, but I think my official prediction is going to be pretty biased. I think the Packers are going to be getting hot, and I think they'll overcome the Seahawks again, or what should be again, and win a very close game, a very low scoring game, and they will go to the NFC Championship.
Okay. Now this game's really tricky for me. Before the Seahawks lost to the Cardinals at home, I said to myself, the Seahawks get the number one seed.
They
They're
go all
they're
the way, yeah.
they're gonna go all the way to the Super Bowl. There's no chance they lose at
Yeah.
home. The Cardinals have shown us if
Even with
you
throwing
can
four
play
picks.
with them defensively, you have a chance
Wait,
at the
wait,
end.
wait. Also, even if throwing four picks by Carson Palmer, they still
Yeah.
won. That's a huge thing to add
That
on. I feel
says
like.
more about, I think, the Seahawks offense, which Russell Wilson has done what he could this whole year. He's been in the MVP conversation because of how good he's played. Um, but like you said, I don't. They don't really have the receivers. Marshawn Lynch is a beast. This game is extremely tough for me to pick. I gotta think this through.
I know. I'll be honest. At first, I had the Seahawks, but then I sort of saw what I was saying with the Panthers, how they have no receivers, and I was like, well, if the Seahawks don't have receivers either, then so I kind of changed my mind.
And another thing to look at, I think the Packers, just the players individually, I feel like they want to get revenge too. I feel like
Oh
they're gonna
yeah,
play their hardest in this game. And Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be affected by the loud noise in Seattle. Um, but anyway, um, I think it'll be close. I'm really looking forward to this. If this happens, it'll be a great game. Seahawks losing, I don't know. I can't see it, but I
it's
don't want to
hard.
say it.
It's hard.
All right, let me just do this. All right, I think the Packers will win because Aaron Rodgers is back. He has his receivers. Brandon Browner is not there. I think what the Packers will be able to do on offense, Aaron Rodgers he'll see things. I think he'll be able to avoid Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, and I think the Packers will pull this out. And I don't think everybody will be that shocked either because it's Aaron Rodgers, and like
Yeah,
Stephen A. Smith said, he's a
bad,
bad
bad.
man.
And another thing I would like to add: what scary quarterbacks has the Seahawks played against? Really, besides Drew Brees, I would say I'm pretty sure he hasn't won against Peyton or Rodgers or Brady this year. Three of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, the trio, pretty much. And another thing, Randall Cobb has been back, and that was something I forgot to mention first for the Packers, which is a huge, huge bonus to the Packers receiving core, which makes them one of the top receiving cores in the NFL. And yeah, I just want to put that there. So that's another really big thing.
I didn't really want. I don't know, man. That was tough to say.
All
Cause
right.
like beginning of the year, I basically had said the Seahawks were gonna win it all. I think
Yeah.
that's what I said, and now I'm like backing off my pick so easily.
It's just that offense. Offense is just if it's not reliable enough, it's hard to get with, in my opinion. Because
All right.
offense wins championships. I feel like in this league
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Wait, offense? You said?
I think if you have it, of course, defense is in that play, but if you have an offense that can, like Peyton Manning, like Aaron Rodgers with the receiving core, and just can score a lot of points,
Yeah.
then it's kind of turned into how this league has been. I feel like so.
It's a, it's a passing league.
Yeah.
Got to be able to throw the ball. All right. So for the conference championships, we both have Broncos, Patriots in the AFC, and then I have Packers, Panthers, and you have Packers, Eagles.
Eagles. Never thought
Okay.
I would be saying that at the start of the year.
All right. I guess I'll do uh,
AFC.
AFC first. All right. Now this is extremely interesting for me, especially as a Patriots fan, and seeing Tom Brady play Peyton Manning year after year. And Peyton Manning, which everyone seems to know, really struggles against the Patriots. And addition to that,
The
he struggles in
cold.
cold weather. And it's going to be cold in Denver. And he had trouble last year against the Ravens. He threw two late game picks, which cost him the game. And I don't really see anything changing. I'm not being you call me biased, but I'm going off of facts and history. Peyton Manning does not do well against the Patriots, and he showed that again this year, where they started off well, but it wasn't really Peyton who was doing it. It was the Broncos defense, and the Patriots just kept fumbling, which was retarded. And there was no Sean Marino too. But Peyton, he did not have a good game. He had probably his worst game of the year. I think he had maybe like one touchdown pass and under 200 yards, which the Patriots defense gotta give him props for that. Um, but I'm gonna say it again. I don't really see anything changing. I think the Patriots will be able to win in Denver. Just I think it'll be close. It'll be hard. It'll be tough. But Peyton just he's not a playoff quarterback. He's like 9-11 in the postseason, and Brady's 17-6. Facts are facts. Records are records. Like can't really avoid this. And I think the Patriots will be able to do what they want to a certain extent because uh, people, they see the Broncos like, oh, their offense is crazy, but their defense can be attacked. They don't have Von Miller. Elvis Dumerville's not there anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
Champ Bailey's getting up there in age. Um, and I think the Patriots will be able to run a bit on them with Garrett Brunt, Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen as a pass catching running back,
Et
which
cetera,
is
et cetera. Because they have a
awesome.
ton of running backs.
And then Edelman and Amendola who's come on out of as of late, and then Edelman who's been almost an elite receiver, people could say. I think he has. Look at the stats.
I know.
It's
It's
just
just.
crazy what Brady's been able to do. I
It's
think
just.
it's gonna be a close game. I'm excited. I hope this happens. It should. Most people are expecting it to happen, but like I said, you can't really back off what the past has done. I think the Patriots will beat the Broncos and Peyton Manning and disappoint uh, Peyton Manning once again.
All right, so Chris picks the Patriots, and now my thoughts on this. I couldn't agree more with you from what I heard. I mean, Peyton Manning also doesn't do good, or yeah, I already said that, sorry, or mentioned it when you were going, but doesn't do good in the playoffs, doesn't do good in the cold, and doesn't he do bad against Tom Brady also?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like head to head, Brady's owned him.
Yeah, I mean, Patriots defense is more, I guess you say has more heart, I feel like, than the Broncos defense, which becomes a huge factor with the turnover and stuff, which is what the Patriots
Yeah,
has sort of done.
Patriots get takeaways.
Yeah, so kind of, I agree with most of what you said, and I feel like the Patriots will end up winning against the Denver Broncos.
Super Bowl bound, baby.
Oh, snap. All right. This starts
God
now.
damn it.
This starts now the NFC um, Championship, where I have the Eagles against the Green Bay Packers. Now, what I've been saying is that Nick Foles is pretty much has looked like one of the a top tier quarterback, which is what I've kind of been saying during this whole playoff run. But I'm pretty much saying that both of these teams are the hot teams in the NFC, and which is kind of why I picked them really, because that's usually the Super Bowl teams that make it are the hot teams: Ravens, Giants. I don't remember the Saints too much. The Packers we got hot late. The Giants again back in '07. I mean, that's really how it's been, really. Then that's how it's always going to be for football. And it's just hard to tell which team is going to be the hotter team, I guess you could say. But overall, I think if this game's going to be a shootout, I think Rodgers has the better receiving core, and he's done this before. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers will overcome this year, having an 8-7-1 record, and they will go to the playoffs to beat, or no, sorry, not to beat, sorry, just to go to the playoffs or the Super Bowl. Wow, I'm being bad. To go against the New England Patriots.
All right. Sorry, I had to go BRB. My dog is just killing me. Like literally every noise she hears, like an acorn drops.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you picked the Packers, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Ooh, the dream Super Bowl. All right, so Packers Panthers for me. This game's interesting. You got a great defense front line against, which will, at this point, in my opinion, will be a really rolling offense. They're getting the job done. Pretty elite with Rodgers and Cobb back. Um, I obviously didn't really think this out before, but let's see. This is tricky. It will be in Carolina. The Packers are hot, which, like you mentioned, are the teams that matter in the playoffs, as recent years have shown. Um, uh,
I know it's hard. It's hard.
let's see. I think the key in this game will be the Packers O line against
Protecting
yeah
Rodgers.
protecting Rodgers. If they can protect Rodgers, I think Rodgers can attack the the Panthers. Good secondary, but definitely susceptible secondary. They can be attacked. They're definitely by an elite quarterback.
Drew Brees has shown that at
Mhm.
the whatever dome
Yeah,
they are in.
that one loss that the Panthers have had recently. Um, I think I'm gonna have to go with you, Michael, just because I want to see the Super Bowl so bad.
I
I think
did.
I think the Packers will defeat the Panthers. It'll be a good game. It'll be
Uh,
sort of like 24-22 or something like that. I think the Packers will be efficient. The Panthers just don't have enough on offense. Cam will have the towel on his head at the end of this game, outing. Um, but a great season for the Panthers, but I think the Packers will move on. And the dream Super Bowl, me and Michael,
oh gosh.
Packers and
I
Patriots.
didn't even mean for this to happen.
Neither did I. I wasn't even gonna pick either one of these teams, to be honest with you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know
But
how this
I
happened.
think it out like even more. It's like, oh, this makes sense and this makes sense.
Yeah, it just. I mean, in the end, it just comes with offense and like how this league is, like you said, a passing league,
Oh, matchups too.
and that, yeah, that also, and just really, in all honesty, Panthers and Seahawks don't have that. They have the defense, but they don't have the other end. So that's my argument, I guess, on why I'm kind of shady with them being possible Super Bowl candidates. So, the Super Bowl, New England Patriots versus the Green Bay Packers
All right,
at
so
MetLife Stadium.
obviously, like we're not gonna pick against our teams now.
Yeah, more than
we'll,
likely. So,
we'll
just,
just state our reasons why.
yeah.
I guess I'll go first. So like we said, like I didn't see this happening, but um, for me, I don't see the Patriots going to another Super Bowl and losing again. I just don't see how they let that happen. Um, and I think this year's been different, and I think that's a good thing, to be honest, because they've been able to overcome a lot of adversity, which has made their team stronger. Um, and I think this game will be great. I think it'll be a shootout, the Brady Rogers matchup everyone's been dreaming for because it's never happened.
Yeah.
I think it'll be great. I like to say it'll be like a maybe either a last minute drive by Brady, who's been very good. Um,
Or last drive fail by Rodgers, something like that. Like, depending on the last drive, you feel like.
it's like a 2 minute drill kind of thing, fourth quarter. I
Whoever has
can't
the
I
ball.
yeah, I can't pick against my team now. I think the Patriots will win this game. Um, damn, I'm biased as shit.
Hey, so am I.
All right, there you go. No
Alright.
other reasons to state Super Bowls are crazy. So
Yep. So, my reason, of course, I had the Packers beating the Patriots, as it's kind of obvious now. I mean, first time Rodgers and Brady going against each other, and it's kind of just, I guess it's hard to picture this happening since it hasn't happened before, but more than likely it will happen next year, which would make an interesting story. They go against each other in the Super Bowl, and then more than likely the year after they will go against each other in the regular season.
hmm
So that'll be really interesting. But okay, I feel like despite what Tom Brady has done with his receivers and how lackluster they've been, but how he's made them to be just get the job done and get points up on the board. I feel like Rodgers, that collarbone injury won't be a problem anymore. He'll have his receiving core, and let's face it, Denard and Talib, and they can't cover Nelson, Cobb, and Jones like all at the same time on every play. They just can't. It's going to be too hard for them to do. But Trayvon Williams, MD Jennings, those boys for the Packers, they're lackluster cornerbacks. Won't be able. I can't say the same for them either, or I can say the same for them. Overall, I feel like this is going to come with the last play. I feel like this is going to be one of the best Super Bowl games you can see, just because the talent level of these two quarterbacks. I feel like,
hmm
and it's going to either come to a Tom Brady fail on last drive down or Rodgers win. Of course, with me having the Packers, and I can't predict this. I would like to predict a score just because it's the Super Bowl. If you
yeah,
want,
yeah, you can do that. I was thinking about doing that too, actually.
I'm I would go with 31 Green Bay, 27 New England for them to get a touchdown to win. And yeah, I think that's what my prediction would be.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go with um 31-30 New England. Last minute touchdown. No, no.
Wow, 1 point difference.
Yeah, so it would be like 30 to
24-30.
it would be like 30 to 26 or something. Or no. I'm
Or
stupid.
26.
Yeah, 30 30 to 24 they need to touchdown to win. Okay, yeah.
All
We'll go with
right.
30.
All right.
Yeah, I'm salivating at this. I hope it happens
I,
soon.
I, I hope it happens too. All right. So thank you for watching our biased picks. Didn't even want this
Hope
ended.
you enjoyed.
All right. Let us know what you think's gonna be happening and what you think's gonna be the dark or the Cinderella team, Dark Knight, whatever, or Dark Horse.
Dark
Sorry,
Knight.
sorry.
Yo, Batman's in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, Dark Horse. Whatever that team is. Like I said, I had the Packers as that because I just feel like they're gonna get hot. So, yeah. So, thank you all for watching. This has been MJRidiculous with a Z,
The Vintage Chris.
and we will be seeing you guys maybe next year for more predicting. See you then.